Can we get a rant out of the way? And then those of you who want to talk about Purdy, we're coming to you here in a second.
We'll get to you.
I just want to say two things real quick. No sour grapes. If the Giants had done this, I'd be running a victory lap. We all would. We all would.
The Yamamoto or the Otani?
Both. The fact that it's both. The fact that the Dodgers just spent $1 billion on two players. And the fact that that's made possible by Shohei Otani deferring the majority of his salary to after he retires. So there's two things for me to say here. It is incredibly heartbreaking and disappointing that the San Francisco Giants have allowed their brand to fall to a spot where it seems you need to twist people's arms to come here. Now, I think that that's not actually true.
Right.
Of the 7 massive contracts they've reportedly offered in the last 3 years, 2 of them said yes. Jung Hoo Lee and Carlos Correa both said yes. Now, there are bigger names who have all said no. There are various reasons for all of those things, but it's totally heartbreaking that the Giants are not more attractive right now. And I also find it frustrating that if you really wanted Yamamoto as badly as you said that you do, why not offer $350? Who cares?
Do we know what they offered?
No. But I've seen.
We just know that
I've seen reports that the Mets were the only ones that matched the Dodger offer. I don't know if the Giants did or didn't.
Supposedly the Giants have been chasing Yamamoto for years. Years.
So, if you want someone that badly, why wouldn't you be willing to totally overpay? You've offered $2 billion the last 3 years that people have turned down. So you obviously have a truck of money that no one's taking. So if you want the guy that bad, do something stupid for once. I would have loved that. Just outbid everybody. Maybe they did. I don't know.
It's frustrating. Yeah. I'm frustrated by it. Here's what I can't decide, too, by the way. Are the Dodgers, way ahead of everybody? Or are they embarking on the biggest risky offseason in the history of the sport? And the reason I say that is
maybe both.
Glasnow gets a 5-year extension for $135 million. He's never pitched 150 innings ever. I think he only has two years in his entire career where he's had over 100 innings.
Yep.
So they just gave him $135 million. They just paid Otani $700 million. There's no promise that he ever pitches again. So they may have spent $700 million on a DH, and then they give Yoshinobu Yamamoto.
It's pronounced Pajemski. Go ahead.
12 years, $325 million. And I was all in on Yamamoto as far as I love the idea of going after Yamamoto.
Yep.
But if you, truth be told, if you said to me, what do you think his comp is, or who do you think his comp is, I think it's Lincecum. I think he's 2024 version of Tim Lincecum. He's 5'9", about 175 pounds. Go back and look at Tim Lincecum. He had 4 or 5 good years. They just signed this kid to a 12-year deal at huge money. So, and he's not like he's a rookie. Yeah, he's 25, but the guy's pitched 7 years in Japan. And he's used to pitching in a 6-man rotation. So, I don't know. And yet the counter is LA is going to make all that money back by merchandising and marketing in Japan.
Oh God, they're going to be more popular than the teams that are there.
Right. And then they've of course got Otani to defer the money with no interest. So in my opinion, that's kind of a circumventing of the cap anyway. It seems like it should be disallowed, but I can't decide if LA is way ahead of the game or if but as far as the Giants are concerned, how many times is Farhan going to get Giants fans titillated only to let them down? The PR failure of losing all these battles is wearing, I think, on the Giants. I think it's dragging their brand through the mud. I think it's upsetting their fans. And to me, he's just getting played. And then while it's going on, he's wasting time. He's not targeting other free agents that are more realistic options. And then it's more of the dumpster diving, Dalton Jeffries and some guy named TJ Hopkins and Tom Murphy. And you're looking up and you're going, what in the heck? when is Farhan going to actually start targeting free agents? I mean, the other thing is you're talking about $700 million. Well, guess what? Guess who notices that? Your fans. And so when they see that you didn't spend $700 million on Otani, but that you were willing to, it gives them an idea that you've got $700 million to spend. And I don't think they're going to spend anywhere close to that $700 million.
They were willing. They were willing to agree to $680 million of that being deferred. But I'm with you. I'm completely with you. Now, look.
Somebody else has got to be in the pipeline. It's got to be Reese Hoskins. It's got to be Cody Bellinger. It's got to be Snell. It's got to be some series of big-time guys.
Back in the new year, and Blake Snell, and even I don't love nor hate the idea of Matt Chapman. If Alonso or Bellinger is your first baseman, I honestly think, Alonso
would be great.
Okay.
The Polar Bear would be great.
They need to trade. They've got 700 outfielders. So...
nobody who's gonna make the Mets say, yeah, we want that guy.
If you combine that with Carson Wisenhunt, then yes, they would. You know what I mean? Like you've got arms on the farm that can get it done. So look, if that's how this pivot goes, then I still think the offseason is salvageable. But now you're up against it. Now it's you missed on the big one, you missed on the second big one, and so now the pressure is on again, which is exactly where they didn't want to be. Now the other side to this, which for me has got to be said, and it's not sour grapes. This is speaking up for fans in every city in America, and actually more not the ones here than ones that are elsewhere. But the bottom line is, I don't think baseball fans knew that you could defer that much. And that is a stupid rule because the Dodgers are now the Alabama Crimson Tide, and Major League Baseball is turning into college football. And a lot of us love college football, but the bottom line is this. The fun part of this is the Dodgers are now going to be hated everywhere they go, so that's fun for Giants fans. But the downside of this is not an even playing field. This is kind of silly. This is like when Alabama welcomes Abilene Christian in and their fans go, yay, we won 62-7. And the rest of us are like, what the hell did you actually achieve here? So the Dodgers have now created a situation, and baseball has been complicit, where if they win the World Series this year, it's going to be like, dude, that was Billy Madison playing dodgeball against kindergartners. And if they don't win, they're going to be a joke. How could you not win the World Series? That article is already in the LA Times this morning. You have to win the World Series or this is a complete joke. Do they have to win it every year? 12 years in a row? They got to win the World Series or they're a total failure? So the problem with this is Major League Baseball is turning into a sport that has a competition problem. Competitive balance does not exist. They don't care that one team playing another is... like I said, varsity playing junior varsity, and I'm not even talking about the Giants. If I were a fan of the Kansas City Royals today, I would turn in my wings. I'm out. Why would I watch baseball if you're going to conduct yourselves this way, where one team can put $1 billion into two players and another team can't even stay in its freaking stadium and is heading for the Mirage in Vegas? Yeah. It's absurd.
And they're in the same league.
It's absolutely absurd, and there's zero sour grapes.
Well,
it's anti-competition.
Baseball should not have allowed that deal. I mean, that's an unbelievable circumventing of the cap. Now, am I jealous as a Giants fan? Yeah. And I'm also a little skeptical, to be honest. You're telling me the Giants were going to do this? They were going to defer all this money? I mean, I know they said, well, we offered the same deal that they did. Okay, but the Dodgers then deferred that money and then took that savings in the present and turned around and spent it on Yamamoto. But were the Giants going to do the same thing?
I think that was Otani's idea. I thought that negotiation was different. I think he came to the teams with the contract because he wanted them to be able to go sign a Yamamoto or someone. I don't think the teams came up with that deal. I said, I think Otani was like, this is what I want. Will you do it? And all the teams were like, yes.
Well, there's no interest. I mean, why wouldn't you do it?
Of course.
I mean, if you owe me $100 and you say, I can pay it to you right now, or, I'll pay you in a month, I'd say I want it right now.
Right.
You know, if you say I'm going to pay you in 3 years, I think I would like more than the $100 that you owe me. But then my biggest complaint is what the Giants actually did. And I don't get that either. And I've talked to a lot of baseball scouts who claim that the KBO is like the equivalent of the Cal League. And we haven't seen a lot of KBO hitters come over. I mean, you saw the numbers that Darren Ruff put up here. You saw the numbers that Darren Ruff put up there. The MVP of the league in KBO this year was Eric Fetty. Eric Fetty will not be winning the MVP in Major League Baseball this year. They gave Jung Hoo Lee $19 million a year over 6 years. They already had Luis Matos, who had finished a year, and Luis Matos in high A ball hit .313 with a .358 on base, with 15 homers, 86 RBIs, 21 steals.
Jung Hoo Lee, he can't play center.
I know, but I'm not saying Matos is the guy. I'm just saying that if this is just a major risk to give a guy who is, I'll even forget A ball, I'll say it's double A. Okay, he's a great double A player, but you gave him 6 years and $19 million a year. That is the same amount of money that the Astros pay Yordan Alvarez. That's the same amount of money that the Diamondbacks are paying right now to Corbin Carroll.
You know what? Like, I'm not.
Those are big. This guy can't be. I've heard people say, Mark, hey, man, this guy may hit 270 with 5 home runs and 5 stolen bases. That's not worth $19 million a year.
It's not, but then again, hasn't our perspective changed on what $19 million per year is when someone else is making 70? He's making.
What does he need to do to be worth $19 million?
I don't know.
I'd say 285 to 300, 15 home runs. 15 stolen bases. I mean, he's got to do something.
Everything in center and have a personality, but he's making less money than Barry Zito got 100 years ago.
But it's still $19 million a year.
I'm not saying it's not a risk.
It's a lot of money for him.
Sort of. I mean,
it's a major risk for considering Farhan has taken no risks.
He's making
no risks at all, and all of a sudden you got Jung Hoo Lee for $19 million a year. Yeah. I'd rather have Yordan Alvarez. I'd rather have Cody Bellinger, because at least in Bellinger you know a guy that this last year hit .306 in the majors. Get
him too. Get him too.
But I mean, when is the commencement of these free agent signings going to begin?
Wow.
And then the other thing I don't like, and I really didn't like the people tearing down Buster Posey for recognizing that Major League Baseball's the wives of Major League Baseball players may not want to play here. We all know what's going on here. San Francisco has become a political football. There's homeless people all over San Diego. My buddy lives in San Diego, like Krug.
It's terrible.
Look at all these homeless people laying all over the place. L.A., the same. So it's not a San Francisco issue. It's a societal issue. It's a West Coast city warm weather issue. You get a lot of more homeless people. They're not all from here. But the perception is the reality. And I just don't like people getting mad at Buster because he's candid and sharing. People look at it as an excuse. I don't think he was making an excuse.
I don't think it was an excuse.
I think it was just he was describing what he's experiencing, and I'm not going to tell him that he's wrong.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco, always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube. And it is 5 o'clock, by the way. Yeah.
There you go.
I love that sound.
Miller time.
Because it means that it's Friday and it's 5 o'clock, and the 5 o'clock pop is brought to you by Farmers Brewing Company. Whatever time it is, wherever you are, join us as we get ready for Christmas. We're going to be sipping on their hazy IPA known as Garage Dweller. Hopefully that's not the Giants' nickname this year. Sweet, tropical, some citrus aromas in there. If you need an escape from family for a minute this weekend, and you might, sneak out to the garage with Farmers Brewing Garage Dweller. Go grab a 6-pack from Farmers Brewing at your nearest grocery store and enjoy the weekend with us and the beer on 95.7 The Game. So, yeah, I would just say this. The Buster Posey thing, because I was one of the ones who went on a rant, and I do think it was misconstrued in sort of a way. I didn't attack Buster Posey, and how could you say he was wrong? He wasn't expressing an opinion. He was expressing
info,
an experience that he had. I didn't love that he shared that. It's not, and it didn't necessarily make the Giants look any better, or to what end was he sharing it? Well, the fact that he shared it put sort of a confirmation stamp on it, and I don't think that helps in the middle of free agency. You want to share that like in April after Blake Snell and Cody Bellinger joins your team? Cool. But like you're in the middle of competing with for some of these guys. Why would you sort of confirm if I'm Blake Snell and I'm worried about San Francisco? I don't think he is. But if that were the case, why would you be like, oh, by the way, so's everybody else?
What bothers me?
That's what got me about the Buster thing.
Beyond Buster, what bothers me about all these failed free agent pursuits, do your business quietly. Who's the cooler guy at the high school dance? The guy who wants to dance and just hasn't asked anybody to dance? Or the guy who's going from girl to girl going, will you dance with me? No. Will you dance with me? No. Will you dance with me? No. And suddenly it's like he's a pariah because you've asked every girl to dance and nobody wants to dance with you. Maybe play it a little cooler than that. Don't get led around by the nose. To me, Farhan has wasted time. He's created bad PR for his club. He's now creating a market that I think almost by definition he's going to have to dramatically overpay. Boris is watching this as well as and all the agents are. They're watching the Giants lose out on these free agents. And guess what? The price for Bellinger just went up. The price for Chapman just went up. The price for Snell just went up. If they played it a little cooler and not shown their cards, it was like, Yamamoto's our white whale. We will not get outbid on Otani. And it's like your number one competitor to the South is signing guys, making creative deals, making creative trades, getting noticeably better. You have a two-man rotation and no middle of the lineup and an attendance that is falling through the floorboards, and your fan base is going, what is going on? And it's not been a good couple weeks for the Giants.
No, well, I mean, I do, like you and I don't see the Jung Hoo Lee thing the same way. I thought he crushed last weekend with his personality, with the way he handled everything. You're not wrong about it being a risk. I have no idea how to even know or
But you can't hit a fastball with a personality.
But you also can't ignore the fact that you don't know that he can't.
No, but I do know that the average fastball on the KBO is 88 and the average fastball on the bigs is like 95.
But we also know we have video of him roping Yamamoto to the right field fence. So it's not like he can't hit a fastball.
But did he cheat to hit that fastball?
I don't know. Why would you even ask that?
Well, I don't mean cheat, like literally cheating, but you know what I'm saying. Did he get it going early?
Well, I don't know.
It's all I'm saying is they're giving $19 million to a player who is stepping. He's never played at this level.
They're all
He might be awesome, Mark, but he might not be. And you gave him 6 years and $19 million.
But you just detailed the risk of what the Dodgers just did too. All of these deals are risks.
They're all risky.
I'm not going to get mad at the Giants for taking a risk. I'm going to keep getting mad at the Giants for not taking the risk. That's what
I agree.
That's what I'm mad about.
I agree. But would you agree with me on this? If Jung Hoo Lee and we get to spring training, if that is their big move, that's a disaster.
Agreed.
Okay.
Agreed.
That's all I'm saying.
There needs to be more.
That can't be the move. It could be a move.
Absolutely.
But if it's the move, they're screwed.
It can even be one of the biggest moves, but it needs more. And what I keep telling people is they know that. That's not necessarily comforting because they've got to come through.
Yeah.
They know that, but this is it. For me, this is it. Like, how many off seasons in a row are like, okay, this is the off season where we're going to make some big moves. Everybody waited for Otani. I think the world was just introduced to Yamamoto a short period of time ago, and now they didn't get him. And it's like, all right, now the clock gets turned on to March. You've got 2.5, 3 months to make this look attractive. And the people to do it are still out there. And the trades, I think, are out there, but they've got to go execute it. If this lineup shows up in April, I just don't know how you can sell it. I don't know how you can sell it.
The attendance will fall.
It already is.
Yeah.
It already is.
There you go.
Yep. All right.
We got that out of our system.
Feel better?
I do feel a little bit better.
I feel a little bit better.
I feel a little bit better.
The Giants aren't any better, but I feel better.